Defeat for Manchester City in midweek at home, is that a crisis or a blip?
No, a blip. I mean, I think it just showed the standard of opposition really. They made a few changes, didn't they? Which they looked a lot stronger when they put the regulars on in the second half. So I think it'll be it's just one of those things really. I think Lyon played very well as well.
What were your thoughts watching that game?
Thank goodness we only play them twice.
So you don't see any residual effect coming into this weekend?
Not really, no. If anything, it might just give them a kick up the backside, So I don't think it helps us at all.
Do you think Pep Guardiola's absence from the touchline had a difference?
I think it does. I think it does make a difference. I know. No disrespect to Arteta, but I think when you are missing it just makes a slight difference. But you don't think it does because everything is the same in preparation. But he's such an important part, isn't he, Pep? He's such a figure there, and I think it does bring the best out of him.
What do you think, as a manager, was going through his mind when you're up in the stands watching it?
Well, you do. You haven't really. You've got no really saying it. I don't think they could even make contact, could they? So it's difficult. You just got to get on with it. And I think because of that defeat, I think will qualify now. I think that will start them off really. They're such a good squad. And I think in every game now he'll play exactly the full team and they'll go through.
Do you think it makes any difference to his selection for this weekend?
Not really. I think he'll go to what finished the game. With the way I think he probably rested one or two for Saturday as well. So it's whoever plays. I mean, you look at everyone, the replacements. That's the difference at the top level, really, into like we saw at Chelsea last week when you bring somebody like Willian on. They've got great depth in the squads.
You played them in January in the FA Cup. Quite a feisty game. Do you expect something similar?
Yeah, well, I think both teams wanted to win. It was one of them games, wasn't it? A lot of things made of certain things, but hey-ho.
After that game, Pep said that he was looking for more protection for his players.
Yeah.
And your response was that he had to perhaps get used to the hurly-burly of British football. Which of those things do you think has happened? Do you think I don't
think that is the case really. I totally agree with him. I think players should get more protection, if I'm honest. And the thing about us is because you guys only want to talk about the top players, we all talked about Bennett's tackle on Sarni, which resulted in Sarni missing 3 games. Whereas if you watched in the 50th minute, if you watch a tackle from De Bruyne on Jazz Richards, that put him out for 17 games. Now I would say which was the worst, but I don't suppose a tackle on Jazz Richards sells any papers or makes any news. So I thought there were 1 or 2 naughty things that we didn't get the rub of the green, and everybody wrote about this one tackle, which Benno knows was a disgrace. But there were 1 or 2, should I say, clever tackles. I'm not even sure De Bruyne got booked for it by Lee Mason, but it was caught his knee badly. Should have been at least a yellow card, and he missed 17 games, Jazz Richards. So, I think that sounds as if that was a worse tackle than what Bennett's was. But because of the limelight, all the attention was on Bennett's. But we didn't make a song and dance about Jazz Richards. We let that go under the water.
You made a similar point after the Delph tackle, didn't you? A couple of weeks later at Wigan.
Can't remember that far. I only remember that game.
As you say, Joe Bennett was in the eye of the storm after that game. How do you think he's reacted since then?
I thought he did well at the end of the season. I think it did knock him back a bit because when you look at it, it looked a lot worse, as some tackles do in slow motion. But the reason I give him a rollicking is because I got all the stick for 3 days. It was my kick and rush team that did all the damage, and it was all, I got scathing reports from one, and I thanked him for that. Did I? That's just what I needed at the time. But I suppose once again it's an easy target.
So what rankles now for you? Is it the defeat of that day, or the reaction to what you obviously felt was a bit unfair in terms of the coverage of various tackles that went on?
Well, no, that went under the. If anything, I think that gave us a massive lift. Really, we went on and gained promotion, which that's the way to answer people when you're not doing when you're not having the look of the green. You've got to talk. You've got to answer on the pitch, really, and we did that, and that's why we're playing them on merit now. Yeah, when you look at every one of their team, they're all top internationals, and I don't know how many of their players probably cost more than our entire squad individual. But we've earned that right, and we've got to take it on board and enjoy. The fans have been unbelievable. I thought at Chelsea, I've never, to say we're 3,500, and even the Chelsea staff after commented on the and I can't believe the noise that your fans made. Even at 4-1 down and near the end, they were unbelievable. And I think you're going to get that now, even at at home. I would imagine another full house. Who would have thought we'd have had consecutive full houses, 18 months ago, 2 years ago, whenever it was. So it's a fabulous occasion. They're really coming on board, the fans, and I think that doesn't half help the players, because the players are trying their hardest. We're making individual errors and it's costing us, but that's all you can ask. I only ask the players to give the best, and they are doing it. They're trying their best, but they've got to eliminate the errors, because the top players punish you.
When a team goes a spell without winning, Neil, there's often anxiety, apprehension within the camp. What's the mood like here? Well,
I think you can say that about half the teams in the league, really. You just got to keep going. You know that games against Chelsea and Manchester City aren't going to define your season, but unfortunately you've got to play them twice. So you just got to do the best you can in those games and get on. But we've got to try and give them the game as best I thought we did in the Cup. I thought it was a closer game. It was just the brilliance of De Bruyne, the free kick, and etc. And I thought we had opportunities that day, and that's all you can do when you play against these teams, because they've got so many good players. But I think our lads are looking forward to it this week. It's almost like when you play in the FA Cup, when you're concentrating on the league, like we did. It's like a bonus game, really. And I think this game is similar to that feeling.
No De Bruyne, obviously, this weekend. Do you think they're missing him?
No, not really. They've only dropped 2 points, and I watched that game against Wolves, and how they didn't win that 5 or 6, I don't know. I mean, Wolves played well, but they only got the draw because of the handball goal. So they're not doing too much wrong, I don't think.
And they have to adapt their style a little without him.
I don't think so. I think when you get a top player like that, you do miss him, don't you? In the top teams. I think when we get injuries, we probably don't miss an individual as much as what the top teams do. But it's only the level that they set, But when you look at the replacements, it's not bad, is it? I think they might just mucker on a little bit, not collapse.
You mentioned the Chelsea game. Eden Hazard was then rested this midweek. Presumably, his manager felt he needed a rest, and he said himself he perhaps was a bit tired. What's your feeling about players telling managers they're a bit weary and need a rest? Is that something that happens to you?
I don't think so. I mean, that you're talking about internationals. I don't manage many of them really over my career, so I've never had that sort of problem. There are occasions where I've seen a player a bit jaded when I've had a word with him, and usually the player knows if he needs a rest. I think players that I sign are pretty honest, really, and they'll tell you, if I ask them, if I spot something in training, I'll have a quick word and see, what their feelings are. I think if they are a little bit, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to give them a rest. I think they're travelling. I think he'd got West Ham on his mind on Sunday, which is a big game, a London derby, and I think he thought they could get away without him, and they did. So good management, really.
And injuries, as far as you're concerned,
yeah, we got one or two little niggles, but you just like as always, you'd leave it to the last minute, and one or two lads have trained. We've had a little bit of a virus this week as well, so we've got little bits and bobs. But I think everybody wants to be involved if they can. So we'll have a look after I've left here at the sick parade and see what's what.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Morning, Neil.
Hi, Aaron.
Have you got Amazon Prime?
No. Amazon Prime? No, what's that?
Well, they're showing the Man City dog.
I just see Amazon on my bank account where my wife gets things sent every day from £2 something to whatever. I won't go into details. That's the only time I see Amazon.
So you haven't seen the Manchester City
No.
behind the scenes doc then?
No.
Would it interest you to see it?
Not really. I'll probably have a look at that when I finish, you know, when I've got time on my hands and I want to do that. But I'm not really a book. I like books when I'm not doing anything, autobiographies and the odd film, but not really. I think the last film I saw like that was one of mine at Sheffield United, what I had to watch.
Because Pep is obviously he's obviously got something, hasn't he? Well, what would you say makes him so special?
Well, I think he goes to the clubs that have got really good backing and financially signs the best players in the world, basically, which gives him a chance of becoming one of the best teams in the world. And that's what he does. But it's all right signing players. You've got to make them to blend, and that's where Pep comes in. He makes players better than what they are. And you've got to say over this last 12 months that they've just stepped up to another level. Manchester City, I mean Liverpool are hanging in there now on them with their new players, but they've had to spend best part of 200 million to catch up with them, to be anywhere near them. So I think the level that they play at is quite fantastic. Like you say, when you look at the way that he is, from when I listen to some of the players' comments, and that's what a manager wants. He doesn't want to be everybody's friend, but he wants them to respect him and do what he says. And you've got to say he must know what he's doing. The amount of trophies he's won, and that will have upset him the other night. But fortunately, he can put that right the next game in that. Because
what he did last season was something. I mean, would you say they're as good a Premier League side as you've seen?
I can't see it happening again. And I think the way they, usually there's shocks and things, but it's very difficult to get a shock against Manchester City. Really, the way they play, they just, they just bombard you and whatever. You've got to be very lucky on the day. That's what you need, a lot of luck and one or two things going for you. And we get a handball goal tomorrow.
Yeah. It was interesting, going back to the FA Cup game, talking about Joe Bennett, but actually he was telling us not so long ago that he felt he'd got better as a player and that he'd learned from that whole experience. It was a lot for him to go through, wasn't it?
It was. The thing is, there was no need to do it, and that's what bugged me at the time. All it did is got the backs up of the press and everything, and give us a lot more bad publicity than we deserve, really, because we played quite well. And that one incident, like I said, that was blown up, and nothing was said of De Bruyne's, which bugged me. But I didn't want to go out and say, look, you're having a go at me, but why don't you look at this, that, and the other? I thought, let it go and let other people talk.
So do you see him as a better player now than he was maybe at that time?
Yeah, he's improved. He has his moments, I think everything he's got to become more consistent at this level, and he's working hard to do that. But every player in the squad have got to up the game and make fewer mistakes, and he's trying to do that.
Striking at Chelsea, you were still in it with 10, 12 minutes to go, weren't you?
Yeah, that's the disappointment for me all season, really. When I look at the games, quite easily have got a result at Bournemouth. When Mozart had that chance on the hour, would have been interesting for half an hour. I think Huddersfield we could have won. I think Newcastle we could have won. I know we could have lost them, but I thought we could have won that as well. So the disappointment is when we play teams like Arsenal, where people say this is a great goal and that's because they're the money that they've paid. But from my point of view, I thought they were all mistakes that we should have rectified us for the goals. I didn't think any of the goals were. I thought they were all down to bad mistakes from our point of view, and Chelsea same. So that's what disappoints me. I don't think it's tactics or the way we play in or anything. I just think it's individuals that have got to make less mistakes and make sure that if they do one, they don't do it again, the next game.
And there's not much you can do about that on the side.
No.
I don't care how good a manager you are.
Not really, no. That's what disappoints me more than anything this season, because we should have had far more points and not put ourselves in the situation we are.
Aaron Gunnarsson, is he any closer to coming?
No, Aaron picked another knock-up in midweek. A couple of the lads clashed, and so we've got a couple of lads that have got knocks at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see what they are. I don't know the extent of that today.
Because he was he was instrumental. He scored the goal that beat Manchester City, and that is seen in the club history as an iconic win, I think, the last time they're in the Premier League.
Yeah, I didn't know that, so that's something you told me, Rob. But I mean, we would, we just missed that type of lad anyhow. We want that, we want his type of, captain leadership on the pitch really as well. But in all fairness, I think that the midfield area is doing really well to say, we haven't got much competition in there.
And so, given your injuries, is it going to be a last-minute decision on selection?
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 lads that we'll have to make decisions on today, and because they've really got to be 100% to be considered tomorrow. And I think if 1 or 2 do play, they probably, we'll have to think about changing things after an hour or something like that. Are you with me?
Yeah.
But I think the circumstances and the result will decide that anyhow, won't it? How things are going.
And last couple from me, Sol Bamba scored last week, ran straight to the bench or whatever. How big a character is he for you in the dressing room?
He's a very good character. He epitomises where we are. But even at his age, Sol's got to learn as well, and he knows that. We've had discussions, and I think he can learn. But he's so keen to do well, and I don't want to curb his enthusiasm. But he's got to use, he's got to be a little bit cuter at some of the things he does. So I think he's, when he talks, when I can listen to him talking with the other lads at the back, with Bruno and Mozart, it's interesting to listen to them, how they talk about what they've come up against this season. Because it is different. It's probably the best league in the world, competitiveness. And you're coming up against some of the best strikers in the world. So I think it's great for them to think, where we were 18 months, and the same lads, same playing at the back, so it's good. I think Bruno's stepped up a gear as well. I've been really pleased with Bruno. I think he's, he doesn't get a lot of, because he's a quiet lad. I said to Mark yesterday, why don't we put Bruno up? He says, he gets away with it because he says he doesn't talk English. But I might put him up in the next couple of weeks, because you have to treat him gently though. But he's one of those where, I used to be a little bit like that with one of my first chairmen. I used to pretend I was deaf a little bit at certain times.
And last one on Sol. He is clearly given his sort of, it appears, infectious enthusiasm, he's a cult figure with the fans now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you get that?
I do, yeah. I must admit, I think the pleasing thing about the whole scenario, whatever the results are, have been the fans. I think, if you look at that, 99% of the fans are saying, we are going to enjoy this, whatever. And I thought that epitomised it at Chelsea. And I think you've got to have people like Sol Bamba that you look up to. I think there'll be 1 or 2 others this season as well. But I'm really, really proud of the fans this year and how important they are. And I think, all credit to them, really.
All the best.
Thank you.
Morning, Neil. Good to see you. You were saying about the players looking forward to this game. I wonder what...
With trepidation. Is it trepidation?
Yeah,
that's the word.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder about the sort of psychology, about the way you've sort of, eased them into this psychologically. Do you sort of say to them, go out there and play with no fear? Do you say to them, I'm not expecting anything of you because of the opposition? What's the sort of, you're a little bit cute with the psychology of them going into a game like this?
Not really. I mean, I did mention to Sol try and keep it to single figures. But joking apart, we just want to do our best, really. It's a difficult thing from a manager's point of view. Do you try and shut shop up, and the chances are you're going to get beat anyhow. I think they're a unique team. I know Liverpool and Chelsea are good. I still think this is a team that have got everything in the locker, really. So it is a real test for you as a team and staff-wise, but I think as long as they do the best, as long as we prepare them as best we can to try and make a game of it, then I want us to, I know I keep on about enjoying it, I want us to try and enjoy it. Are you with me? And it is difficult when you're losing. So I want them to try and show that we can put up a good game against them without just having everybody at the back and defending for his lives all the game.
You you are a very experienced manager. I wonder, being a bit of a conspiracy theorist on this, whether you're using a bit of psychology with us, and maybe with Pep Guardiola, sort of saying, you know, nobody's expecting anything of us with this. I mean, you know, do you think Pep might sort of look at some of these comments in this press conference?
Well,
and think, I can be a bit more relaxed about it.
I mean, if you think Pep's worried about Cardiff City, that's fantastic. But let me assure you, I don't think he will be. I think he'll be just concerned about his own players. Because if his own players play, they beat everybody in the country, not just Cardiff City. So he'll know that. But he'll also know that with the fans behind us and the type of team that we are, that we're trying, you know, he knows they'll be in for a game. But you know, all things being equal, he'll know that if they compete like we do and with us, and that their ability should come through. But hey, that's football, isn't it? You don't know, do you?
Is he the manager you're most looking forward to pitting your wits against, bearing in mind his reputation, his international reputation, what he's managed to do? You know, you're a canny operator. Is he the guy that you're most looking forward to? No,
not really. No, because I like to pit my wits against teams I think we can win, you know, against, really. So Pep's just there. We've got to play him twice, shake his hand and have a drink after. There are other managers, you know, but he is a top class manager, and you know what he's done. I mean, you know, when you talk about kids growing up and what have you, you know, you want your kids to go and see football like that, you know, and I think the Man City. I think he'll be disappointed, if I'm honest, with the crowd. You know, I think that, you know, the crowd the other night, you know, to see where they were, because I remember them beating Gillingham when they shouldn't have done in the playoffs, I think it was. And to be in the Champions League now, you'd think that would be full house every game, really. So that probably would be my only disappointment. But hey, everything's on a plate for fans now, isn't it, really? You know, you can pick your games and do what you want. And some of us under pressure at home with the missus.
Yeah, very true. Is he the best manager in the world, in your opinion?
He is, when you look at what he's done, you know, Barcelona. It's difficult from my point of view, because I look at, you know, like for last year, for example, I thought Sean Dyche was the best manager in the English league. With the circumstances, are you with me? Whereas, you know, he's won the league and they've been an amazing thing, but you know, they have had an awful lot of backing. So it's a difficult one to, you know, this falls and, you know, against things like that. You know, I think there's at the moment he's up there with all the top managers, and I think if he left his job, they'd be queuing up for him because of what he does. And as I've said, it's all right having money, but you've got to spend it in the right way. And he seems to have spent it in, you know, you do make mistakes and what have you, but he doesn't, you know, you just move on and get on with the next one. And, you know, good managers are the ones that make the fewest.
And lastly from me, I mean, you've said several times about how thrilled you are with the way the fans have been, and the fact that they sort of, you know, are with the team through thick and thin at the moment. So it's your message to them this weekend, because, you know, you're a realistic man and you've been very realistic with us about what you think the prospects are at the weekend, but sometimes fans can make you know, it's fine margins sometimes, and they can make a bit of a difference.
They can, yeah.
Send your message about what you want them to do this weekend.
Well, I don't think I need to send any messages out, really. I think what they are doing now is unbelievable, and I know what it'll be like before kick-off tomorrow, because they're almost treating it like going out to the theatre or going out to a show, aren't they? And, you know, you want to join in when you're going to watch the Eagles in a concert. You want to sing along with them, and they seem to be doing that with us. They almost want to kick the ball. I mean, the second equaliser against Arsenal, I thought they actually sucked the ball in the net with the strength of the support. It was fantastic. So, and everywhere you go, they're talking about, you know, we'll be there, you know. 3 or 4 people who've never been to a game are coming on Saturday. You know, people who've said to me, and I think that's what it is. You know, it's getting to everybody. They want to be there and watch it. And I think because we're all together, from the top of the club, from Vincent right down, it's a great feeling when you're all together. You know, and that's why you can look at adversity and you can go at it. You know, you can have a go at it, and that's what we are.
Together stronger.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Works well in Wales.
Yeah.
Best of luck, Neil.
Thank you.